loves, welcome to my channel. It's Rose right here. I missed doing this for you guys. I know I had promised to post more reviews, but it's just been the worst time for me, honestly, so please don't blame me. Now I'm trying to keep up with my promises and record as many reviews as I can, and I've been reading a lot lately, so there are many reviews incoming, and I will let you guys know on my Instagram stories. And if you have any requests on which book series or books should I post reviews on, please write them down for me so I can make them for you. Now today we're going to talk about the Windy City series by Liz Tomforde, and a lot of you guys have requested me to post a review on this one. And this, I think it was my first sports romance, or the second one. I'm new to the whole trope and series, and I think it was rather a good one. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't know if it's the best or not because there are many more sports romance series I should read, but I enjoyed it, and I love a found family trope. I like the whole series. There is a found family trope vibe to it, so I really enjoyed it. And with this review, I'm not really going to spoil anything, but I'm going to talk about the tropes and how the book goes, if it's boring, if it's short, if it's slow paced, and what the characters are like. But if you want spoilers and if you want to know about the books, you can text me on Instagram and I will spill the tea for you. Now in the Windy City series, we have 5 books. The first one is Mile High, then we have The Right Move, then we have Caught Up, Play Along, and the last one, Rewind It Back. And it's for the best if you read them in order. Honestly, you're gonna be confused if you don't, because the characters in Mile High are going to appear in The Right Move, and just goes on and on and on. So honestly, I think it's for the best if you read the whole series in order. If you want to know if any of the books are good to read as a standalone, I think it's going to be The Right Move and no other book. And I do think it's the best book in this series, and it's my favorite one as well. And I know the whole trope of the series is sports romance, but I should let you know that there is not much sports to it, only 2 to 3 chapters. So if you want a series that's more sports focused, this is not it. Honestly, this one is mostly focused on the relationships and personal struggles more than sports. And I should also let you know that there is much spice in this series. Sometimes it gets a little too much, especially in the first book. So if that's something that you're worried about, or if you want to skip those chapters, please let me know and I can write the chapter numbers for you so you can skip those. And let's begin. So with the first book, we have Mile High, and our male character is Sanders and our female character is Stevie. Sanders is a hockey player in Chicago and Stevie is a flight attendant. So the tropes of the book are sports romance, obviously, enemies to lovers, secret relationship. I couldn't say forbidden romance, but it's a secret relationship. They cannot talk about it. But be careful, there's so much spice in this book. So if you want to know which chapters to skip, if you don't want to read them, you can comment and I will say what chapters you should skip. So a little about Xanders without any spoilers. He's one of those bad boys, especially on the media and on TV. He's a very famous hockey player, and everyone thinks he's this playboy, and he's always seen with women on social media and everywhere, but deep down he's a good guy. And with Stevie, she's a very bold and funny character. She has many hobbies and interests. Also, she has many struggles, and she struggles with mental health and whatnot. And she's also a plus size girly. So first I'm going to talk about pros and cons. So for me, this wasn't the best book, and I was so close to actually not reading it, but I cannot do that since I wanted to read the whole series, and I know it's a found family trope. I wanted to know these characters more, and I don't regret it that I read this book, because in the end it got better. But if you think that you're one of those people who gets really bored when there is not much plot and nothing unique, then I don't think you really need to read this book, and you can skip to the next one. and you can just listen to the spoiler section to just know more about Stevie and Xander's, because they are going to be in the other books as well, like almost all of them. So for pros, there were many good banters and I really enjoyed those. Like, they were so funny and so cool. I think the author did a good job of portraying what it is like to be a plus-sized girly, as I have heard also from my friends who have the same insecurities as Stevie. So for me, Mile High wasn't really my favorite book in the series. I was so close to just stop reading it and let it go and just move on to the next book. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because in the end it got better, but still it's not my favorite. I think it could have been better, especially as the first book in the series. And if you're one of those people who really don't like books that are so long, because I think this one is so long, especially since there's not much plot going on, nothing unique is happening, I think you could definitely skip it. And if you want more spoilers after even watching this part, you can comment down and I'll give you more spoilers about the characters or what happened, because Stevie and Xander's are like in all of the books. But if you skip this book, really nothing's going to happen, and you can just listen to what I'm gonna say and that's going to be enough. So for pros, first of all, there were many good banters and there was like a good chemistry, good amount of chemistry between Stevie and Xander's. And I loved how the author portrayed Stevie as a curvy FMC and as a curvy girl, and how she struggles with the insecurities that come with those, especially since I saw online that many girls loved this part about the book. And I think she really did a good job on that. And there are many chats about struggling with mental health, how you cannot talk about it with your parents, and if you're someone who struggles with that as well, I think this book is gonna be good regarding that. Also, there were many talks about therapy and how therapy can save people, literally. Also, one of the parts that I really loved about this book was that Stevie is volunteering at a senior dog shelter, and we know more about how it feels to be around these dogs that nobody wants to get because they're old or they're injured or whatever. I really liked that part. And overall, the spice was really good, if that's something that you care about. And that's it on the pro side. Now for the cons, I think the book was really too long. Like 600 pages is really too long for a book like this, because there is, as I said, nothing unique going on, nothing that you would be like, oh, I haven't heard this before. So 600 is really too much, and I think this book could have been like easily 200 to 300 pages less than what it is. And in this book overall, there is not much sports happening, so like if you wanted to know about hockey and stuff, I don't think you really get to know that. I think it was like 2 chapters or 3 chapters about it, and it was like so small. And at times Xander's got too insufferable, to be honest, and what was between them felt more like lust rather than love, especially at first. Like in the end it was okay, but like especially at first it was so hard to read like what they were doing to each other or saying to each other, because it was just lust. That was not love. And regarding Stevie's character, I do think that there were some weird things about how the author was describing Stevie, because Stevie kept being like, oh, I'm not like the other girls, I don't wear this like the other girls, or stuff like that. And at first I was like, I get it, she's a curvy girl, so of course it's harder for her to find clothes her size or feel good about herself in a world like this, especially with social media and everything. But it just got too much. Like in the end, she literally had mustard on her chin and she had dirty clothes, and she was like, oh, I'm not like the other girls, I'm just myself. And I don't think that's like not being the other girls, that's just being dirty and weird. Like, why would you have mustard on your chin and then you would go out? Like, that's just weird. And yeah, that's it. Honestly, I don't have much to say about Mile High. As I said, it's not my favorite, and I do really think that you can skip this book if you want to. But if you are someone who struggles with mental health or struggles with being plus sized, I do think there are some good aspects to this book, like regarding those topics. Now the next book, which is my favorite book of Liz Tomforde and in this series, is The Right Move, and I think it has like the highest rating, and this is like people's favorite book of the series, also mine. And it was really well written. It's just, you will love it. And if you want to start with like a sports romance book or just a really good one, this is it. Like, this one is good. Before I forget, the tropes are sports romance again, forced proximity, and fake dating. And I think this book is just for the hopeless romantics. Like, if you're a hopeless romantic, you will love it. So our main characters are Ryan and Indy. Ryan is the captain of the Devils, Chicago's NBA team, so he's a basketball player. And he's one of those lone wolves, the one man that they don't believe in love, or they're like so sheltered, so controlling. He doesn't trust anyone. On the media, he's like the best guy ever, and he honestly is. And Indy is friends with Ryan's sister, who is actually Stevie, our female main character in the previous book, Mile High. So yeah, Ryan and Stevie are siblings, and Indy is Stevie's best friend. And Indy is a very emotional girly. As an emotional girly, I enjoyed reading this book like a lot. And she's a crier. She is a book girly. Most importantly, she has her book boyfriends and she reads her romance books. And she's also a people pleaser, and she struggles with that. So yeah, that's it. Let's go and start with the pros and cons. So let's start with the pros, and there are like a lot of pros. There are many funny interactions. Like, I was laughing almost the whole time. It's like really funny. These two characters are really funny and they have like good banter. There's like chemistry between them for sure. There is a nice slow burn to their relationship, and the characters have depth. I really like that. They have their own struggles, their interests and everything. There is so much to them that you're like, oh, I get to know this person so well. I know how they're thinking, I know how their brain works. So I really like books like that. And with Mile High, I didn't feel that, but with The Right Move, definitely. The book is not too cheesy and not too dramatic, which is the perfect combination for me. And there are like many deep conversations and very meaningful convos, and they were good at communication, and it just felt good to read that, especially after Mile High. I'm hating on that book now. Okay, no, I don't hate it that much, honestly. And it was very interesting for me, like it was the first time that I had ever seen this in a book, that the male character had insecurities regarding a relationship rather than the female character, because it's usually the women that are like, oh, I'm so scared and stuff. But this time it was Ryan, and that was just such a good and a new perspective to it, and I really liked it. And Ryan is like the book boyfriend. Like, honestly, every time I think of a book boyfriend, Ryan comes up right now, because he's just the best. Like, acts of service, subtle time of love, like everything about him is honestly perfect, almost everything. And I think after reading this book, he is going to be on top of your list, like for your favorite book boyfriends, honestly, because he's really cool. And with Indy, as I said, she's a crier and like a very emotional girl. I liked how Ryan wasn't judging her about that, and instead they communicated, and he told her that it's fine, you can show your emotions, you can cry if you really need to cry, but like don't burden yourself with all these emotions. I really liked that part about Indy. Girls usually get bullied for being too emotional because like they're the emotional species, but that's not true, and Ryan showed her that it's not true, and you can't be emotional. It's just something that you are. And as for the cons, again, the book could have been shorter. It wasn't as insufferable as Mile High, but it still could have been shorter. And you know, in this book, Stevie, like Ryan's sister and Indy's best friend, she was playing as a matchmaker, and I really didn't like that, because like I know you want your best friend and your brother together, but like forcing each other down their throat is not the answer, and you should just let them communicate and like find their way back to each other. But like she was really playing the matchmaker, and that wasn't really fun. And Indy was inconsiderate at times, and she kind of gave like pick me vibes sometimes, but like it's not too insufferable. But I think in this book Ryan was like the perfect character. And our next book is Caught Up. Now I was really excited about like this one because all of my friends were saying how they loved this, especially since I hadn't read any single dad ex nanny like books. I was so excited for this one, but sadly it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. It wasn't bad, but I don't think it's like the perfect single dad ex nanny like book. But it was still enjoyable. It's not like mile high. I don't think you should skip it. There were many good moments and it's fun, but it could have been better, like way better, because the characters were good. Now Kai is a single dad with one boy named Max, who's like the best part about this book, I swear. And he's a very professional baseball player, like a pitcher for the MLB's Chicago team, and he's a very hardworking guy, and he's like doing his best, going to the games and coming back to take care of his son because he doesn't trust him with anyone. And tropes are sports romance, single dad ex nanny, forced proximity, and found family. That's like the trope for every single dad ex nanny book, I know. And Miller is Kai's coach's daughter, and she has like a very fun energy, but she's the bolter, the runner, you know. She's the one that when things are tough, she has to run away. So if you are someone like that, maybe you will enjoy this book. Now as for the prose, you're gonna be giggling and kicking your feet because that's how Kai is gonna make you feel. And one of the best parts about this book, as I said, is Max the kid. Like, he's the cutest and he's the sweetest, and his interactions with Miller, they're like so cute. You're gonna enjoy those. If you're someone who enjoys something like that, you're gonna enjoy them. And the whole found family trope was so sweet and so like heartwarming. I loved those parts. And one of the best things about this book was Monty. He is Miller's dad, and like he was the best side character and even maybe like the best character of this book. And he's going to get his book, which I'm like so excited about. And he just had the best like father-daughter relationship. He was so protective of Miller, and he cared so much about his daughter, and I just love to see that. And like, even though Miller is a runner and she was always away and like running away from him, he was always there for her. You're gonna love Monty. You're gonna love him. And about the cons, I'm like, why I didn't really like this book. I don't think there is much chemistry between them. Like, I didn't even feel any chemistry between them, because even when they first met in the book, it felt like lost again and not love, because they were attracted to each other like physically, and they literally said it, like both of the characters, they said it multiple times that they were attracted to each other like physically. Like, all they were thinking about each other was attraction about their body, or like how she had tattoos and how, you know, stuff like that. And I really didn't like that, because like, get to know each other first and then say that you're in love with each other. Like, that was not cool. And I think overall the book felt bland, like there was nothing unique or new, and it's like any other single dad ex nanny. Like, there's no plot. Honestly, I do think that if it had a good plot, it would have been like the best book, because the characters had potential, both of them especially. I think with Kai it was good, like about his past and everything, but with Miller maybe it could have been better. Yeah, overall I do think this book needed like a good plot. There was no plot. Now for the next book we have Play Along. I actually enjoyed this one, not as much as The Right Move, but it was very fun actually. I was surprised. I didn't expect it to be this fun. And our MMC is Isaiah and our FMC is Kennedy. And Isaiah is Kai's brother, younger brother, and Kennedy, and he's also like a player in the baseball team. I don't remember the exact like position, but Kennedy is his team's physiotherapist, so they're always like in contact with each other, because she has to go to the team and like do some type of massages to help them with the pain in their body after the games and stuff like that. and the tropes are sports romance, forced proximity, and marriage of convenience. Yep, I know you guys like that one. I know it, me too. Me too. And Isaiah is reckless, charming, and impulsive, and he's like a playboy on the outside, but a hopeless romantic on the inside. And he's also been dealing with some trauma regarding something that happened in his past, like he lost a loved one, and he has always been struggling with it, and he has anxiety because of it, and that part was like portrayed really well, I think. And Kennedy is a perfectionist. She also had a hard past, and because she was not able to connect with her family, they did not show love and affection to her. She cannot express love and affection now towards anyone, and Isaiah is going to help her. That's the trope of the book. And for the pros, there were like so many good banters, and the chemistry was really good. And overall, I don't think it's a book that would make you go bored. You're not going to get bored. Like, it was so fun, and something was happening after the other. It was actually very nice regarding that. And there is a very nice representation of mental health overall, especially regards Kennedy's issue. As I said, she cannot show love and affection. It was quite nice, but we can jump to the cons now about what I said about love and affection. It kind of got too cringe, like, because if someone cannot show love and affection, of course it's gonna be hard, and like, of course they're gonna need help. But it was just weird of her to ask that from Isaiah. I think that part could have changed. I really didn't enjoy that part. Like, it was too weird for me, honestly. It was like too awkward, especially they didn't know each other very well. So yeah, I didn't really like that part. And Kennedy was very rude and very inconsiderate at times. Like, I know she had a traumatic past, but she didn't have to be this rude with Isaiah because he was always kind and everything. So to be honest, she's like not my most favorite FMC of this series. And the book got too repetitive and too predictable by the end. I don't think there's like a really unique plot once again. I just think that it's a book that you're gonna enjoy reading. Like, it's much better than Cut Off, in my idea. Now we are going to talk about the last book, Rewind It Back. Our MMC is Rio and our MMC is Haley. Now, I was so excited for this one, especially since it was the last book. Like, it had just gotten released, and no, I didn't know much about it. And Rio, if you like read the series, he's like in every single book because like he's a friend of the guys and he's like everywhere. And he's always been the third wheel and the single friend. He's always been yearning. We just didn't know about like what was it about. And he was the funniest and he was the coolest, and I was so excited to read this book. But honestly, it wasn't as I expected, and I really wished that this book wasn't like this. It could have been so much better. There was like so much potential for his character and for his book, especially since it was like the last book. So I got a little disappointed, but I don't think it's like a bad book. And the tropes are sports romance, friends to lovers, and second chance. Like, these two are such good tropes, so why did you have to do this? And Rio, as I said, he's like the third wheel, always the single boy, and he's a very goofy golden retriever, and he's like down bad, even hopeless romantic for Haley. And Haley is our confident, independent queen who's also an interior designer. And as for the pros, especially since there's like a found family trope throughout all the books, it was so good to have all the characters back together in one book. You just feel so emotional since you know it's ending. Even though I didn't like some of the characters, it felt so good to see that either they're having children, married, going to marry each other. Like, the epilogue was so good. That was like one of the best parts of this book, if not the best part. And there's like just a cool, nice vibes to the book. Like, music is their love language, and the aesthetics of the book are really nice, and it makes the book more interesting. And if you're a fan of yearning, there is yearning in this book. Like, that's a pro. If there is yearning in a book, I'm gonna put it as a pro for sure. And as for the cons, I think if this was like a standalone book and it was not in this series, it wouldn't have been good. I could say the same about like most of the books of this series, honestly, but like especially this one. Like, if we didn't know Rio in the other books, and if we didn't know how funny and interesting he is, I don't think we would have enjoyed this book as much. And the pacing of the book was just too slow, and there are flashbacks in the book because like they're friends, they had been friends before, so we see those flashbacks, but those flashbacks don't really give us much information. Like, at first they were nice, but they just get too repetitive and it's just the same thing over and over and over. And if you're giving us flashbacks, we need to know what happened, how they feel. Like, we need to know so much more than just the same thing over and over. Like them listening to music and we didn't even know what music they're listening to. I really wanted to know. Like, I was so excited, but we don't even know that. Like, there was not much information in those, and that's why the pacing was so slow and the book was long. And overall, I think Rio was like so much more interesting in the other books than this one. Like, he had so much potential. I feel so bad. And Haley didn't really have much identity out of like her job. Like, all that she was like her jobs, and I wish she had more depth and we could see why really Rio loves her and has been loving her for like 4 years. But as I said, the epilogue of this book was so cute and it was so nice, and if you like the found family trope, I think you're going to enjoy this series. I wouldn't say this is like the best series to start your sports romance era with, but it is a good one and it can like show you what it can be like, because there is not much about the sports, it's more about romance in this one. So I'm not sure, I'm going to read more series like this and let you guys know. And that's it, we're done. Hope you liked this video. Please let me know which series or like which books should I do this for next, and love you all.